On April 8, 2022, the European Union issued a fifth round of sanctions against Russia. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that measures on oil and even gas will also be needed sooner or later. Did you get that? Even gas will also be needed sooner or later. In other words, not now. Since the war in Ukraine began, the EU has imposed sanctions that restrict the flow of Russian money and goods. They targeted banks, companies, individuals, but natural gas remained untouched. The EU gets nearly a quarter of its energy from gas, and nearly half of it comes from Russia, the world's largest gas exporter. Russia delivers the vast majority of its gas to Europe through this network of pipeline. And as the EU largest economy, nobody why is more of it than Germany. Since the invasion of Ukraine began, Germany has paid Russia about 220 million euro a day for a gas. Germany uses gas to heat more than 20 million homes and to power a lot of the country's industry. And Germany government has spoken out against sanctions that would limit the flow of it. It's not possible to cut the gas supplies. But the every payment Germany makes to Russia is a state-owned natural gas company. It's also paying for Russia's war. So how did Germany become so independent of Russia for something as vital as their energy supply? And why can't they quit? Germany was at the literal center of the Cold War. After World War II, a fortified border separated independent West Germany from East Germany and other Soviet satellite states. World War II had left Germany in ruins, but by the 1950s, West Germany was experiencing a remarkable economic recovery. German industries like steel prospered, but they needed more energy to power their growing economy. Meanwhile, over here in Western Siberia, the Soviet Union had just discovered huge natural gas reserves. They had a network of pipelines to supply major Soviet cities. But extending their pipeline to potential consumers in Europe would be a huge infrastructure project. Then in 1969, West Germany elected a chancellor with a new foreign policy called Ostpolitics, focused on bringing the two sides closer together through dialogue and deals. Energy provided a great opportunity, and West Germany and the Soviet Union struck a deal. The Soviet Union would be supply West Germany with natural gas, and in returns, West Germany would provide high quality steel pipes to extend their pipelines. It was a major 20 years deal. To get how this deal looked Germany in, it's important to understanding what makes pipe natural gas different from other energy sources. Natural gas, the coal and oil, is one of the three main fossil fuel used around the world. But unlike coal and oil, which can be shipped or rerouted worldwide, pipe natural gas is a regional product that depends on proximity to transport it. Gas producers spend millions of dollars to build pipelines that connect producers and buyers. Because these pipelines are such a big and permanent commitment, gas deals can link a buyer's energy infrastructure to the sellers for decades. By the 80s, the Soviet Union built this pipeline network to Europe, and by the 90s, it was supplying Germany with 40% of its gas. Then the Soviet Union collapsed. Russia's state-owned corporation Gazprom took over the old Soviet gas pipeline, where the map had been red-drawn. Russia's main pipelines now run through a newly independent Ukraine, putting a key part of their gas infrastructure to land they no longer control. So in order to diversify the routes to Germany, Russia began building new ones. In 1999, they finished this pipeline that ran through Belarus, and in 2005, they began building the Nord Stream pipeline along the Baltic Sea to the Germany directly. They also built pipeline inside Germany and opened a subsidiary there to operate gas or storage facilities, including this one here, one of the largest in Western Europe. Russia now had three routes reaching Germany, as well as pipeline and storage facility inside Germany. The gas trade was strong, but what it had also changed Russia's relationship with Europe. At the end of 2008, gas price negotiation between Russia and Ukraine fell apart. A few days later, Russia cut off gas to Ukraine for 20 days. The things is because Ukraine was a major transit country. When Russia cut off their gas, so they cut off a lot of European gas too. As a result, all these countries saw a drop in their supply and tens of thousands lost heat. In Poland, at least 11 people froze to death. All this put Europe on alert. It was nuclear death through gas flows. Russia held immense power over Europe, but up here, another light to Russia was in the works. Nord Stream 2, a new $11 billion pipeline to run alongside the first Nord Stream and double the capacity to Germany. Then in 2014, Russia annexed Crimea and invaded eastern Ukraine. In response, the EU issued a series of sanctions. Some countries began to wean themselves of Russian gas. But Russian gas kept flowing to Germany. In fact, Germany imported more gas than ever before. Today, as Russia atrocities in Ukraine continue to shock the world, pressure on the Germany is mounting. But replacing Russia's gas isn't easy because it's been piped to home and business for decades without a major infrastructure overhaul. Russian natural gas can only replace with other natural gas, and Germany's options for that are limited. The largest European natural gas reserve here in the Netherlands is closing this year. Gas from Algeria and Libya is increasingly used in those countries. Most of what's pumped to Europe goes to Italy and Spain. And a southern gas corridor connecting Azerbaijan to Europe is not transporting as much as expected. The other option is liquefied natural gas or LNG. That's gas that's being cooled until it becomes liquid and can be transported in these massive ships from anywhere in the world. But it's a time consuming and expensive alternative that requires a lot of new infrastructure. In the last 2 decades, European countries have built LNG terminal along their coasts. Germany plans to open three in the next 5 years. But as of today, it doesn't have any replacing natural gas and all fossil fuel, and renewable is Germany's ultimate goal. But that requires a massive and expensive transition that won't be completed until 2035. Meanwhile, at home, Germans are demanding action. According to this poll, the majority